Welcome back to Grumpy Vet Garage. In a previous series of videos, I went over the top 3 manufacturers of stock location turbos for the Gen 2 B58. Companies like Pure and Dynamic Autowerx utilize turbos that fit within the general footprint of the OEM turbocharger when they build their upgraded turbochargers and maintain the stock location. Remnant Performance utilizes a Garrett-style full-frame compressor and center section that is then used with an OE-style turbine housing to achieve the stock location. Dynamic Autowerx now has a new 6969 turbo that they're characterizing as a full-frame turbo, but is still a stock location unit. This turbo utilizes Dynamic Autowerx high-efficiency turbine housing that they say is made out of nickel-resistant D5S alloy, which is a cast iron alloy that has high resistance to corrosion and wear that can occur during high thermal stress. The material is rated for over 2,150 degrees Fahrenheit and is an excellent choice for this type of environment. The outside runners that complete the turbo manifold are made of stainless steel and are welded to the turbine center section. As a note, this is the same construction used on all previous new gen Dynamic Autowerx turbos, so it's not new, but again, it is a very good construction. The billet compressor wheel on the 6969 is a new design, and they say that it's all new blade geometry for improved spool and increased airflow at high RPM, and the size of the compressor wheel is a 69 millimeter. I didn't see it mentioned anywhere else, but the 6969, as the name implies, is a 69 millimeter inducer on the compressor side and then a 69 millimeter exducer on the turbine side. Comparing that to the previous 6769, the rotating assembly, the same turbine is used between the two turbos. They both have 69 millimeter exducers on the turbine side, but the new 6969 is 2 millimeters larger. Dynamic Autowerx states that this new turbo includes their race thrust bearing assembly. They say it is stronger, more durable, and is built to handle sustained high load abuse and extreme durability at high boost. And I think this is where previous turbos have had problems being able to handle the increased loads. In my opinion, this is a big deal. Pure and Dynamic Autowerx, they started out by rebuilding OEM turbochargers, stuffing them with larger components to get increased performance, and then they moved to building their own turbos, so there was no core turbos, and that was really so they could control more of the dimensions, what they were working with as far as the cores. They were making the cores, but also to give improved components to hopefully increase the reliability. I think this turbo being a full frame turbo and having an upgraded bearing assembly is really good, and is something that can kind of bridge that gap between the reliability of this stock location turbo and the known reliability you get from a full frame turbo that might go on various different applications from the well-known turbo manufacturers like Garrett, Borg Warner, Precision. So I think this here is actually key to the success of this turbo. Additionally, Dynamic Autowerx says that the rotating assembly is advanced precision balanced using CMAT balance equipment, CMAT being one of the premier companies making equipment to balance turbos. It's VSR balance, so vibration sorting rig balance, but also they made sure to say that it was performed in the United States, so they weren't farming out the balancing of their turbos outside of the USA. This is also the same balancing method that Dynamic Autowerx has been using on all of their new gen turbochargers. The 6969 turbo also comes with an oversized high flow billet aluminum inlet. They would need to port match it to the larger inlet of this turbo, but I'm assuming it's very similar to the previous design of inlet from Dynamic Autowerx. They list that the 6969 turbo was also machined, assembled, welded, and balanced in the United States, backed by a 12-month limited warranty, which is great. But of course, castings are most likely made in China or Southeast Asia, but I think it's good that the critical assembly and quality control is all being done in the United States by Dynamic Autowerx. Dynamic Autowerx rates that the 6969 turbo can support over 1,150 horsepower. They say it pushes the limits of what an OEM location turbo can achieve, delivering increased efficiency, higher top-end power than the previous new gen 6769. And then finally, they said the turbo is a direct bolt-on to the B58, no fabrication required, and they say it's the ultimate turbo for the B58 owner who wants OE fitment, insane power, and world-class reliability. And I think the reliability part is going to be the key to this turbo success. But this turbo is available for both Gen 1 and 6-port Gen 2 B58s. That's all the information I could find on the new Dynamic Autowerx 6969 Turbo, but it generates a few questions. Number one, who is this turbo for? I think this turbo is for someone who is trying to make over 600 wheel horsepower on 93 octane pump gas, and somebody who's looking to really push the power limits of what's capable using a stock location turbo. Within my previous research on stock location Gen 2 B58 turbo upgrades, I was able to find 4 examples of people making over 600 wheel horsepower running 93 octane pump gas. 3 of those examples was using the new Pure 800, and then 1 was using the Pure 900. With doing my research, I realized that there's just so much more information, dyno information, utilizing pure turbos than using anything else. But with the exception of the Dynamic Autowerx Ultraflow X, I believe all the other turbos I went over, including the 65 Omega, the Pure 900, the Pure 800, the 6769, and then this turbo, the 6969, they're going to be able to make over 600 wheel horsepower, appropriate supporting mods, a tuner that's going to be aggressive enough to actually get you there, but I think it can easily make over 600 horsepower. Also, another question is this truly a full frame turbo? Looking at the images provided by Dynamic Autowerx, the turbo doesn't appear to be any larger than any of their other previous new gen turbos. They all look the same size, honestly. The inlet is larger, but they didn't provide any data that the AR or area over radius is larger on the compressor or turbine housings. So a larger AR is going to allow you to flow more more air at higher RPM, but also it contributes to a little bit more turbo lag, a slower spool. So I don't know. I don't think Dynamic Autowerx would market it that it's a full frame turbo without it being larger in some way. I just can't see it with the naked eye. And then the last question, the power claims of making over 1,150 horsepower using this stock location turbo to me seems a bit ambitious. The highest documented horsepower I saw with a 6769 was 791 horsepower, which is impressive, but the highest horsepower I was able to see in general across all of the stock location turbos was using a remnant 65 Omega, and that was 892 horsepower, really nowhere near 1,000 horsepower, much less 1,150 horsepower. So if Dynamic Autowerx is talking about maybe flywheel horsepower, accounting for maybe like a 20% drivetrain loss, which is pretty typical, the 6969 would support somewhere around 920 wheel horsepower, which is still very impressive. I think once this turbo is out in the wild and people are actually using them on their vehicles, whether competition or on the street, I think we're really going to get a sense of what performance this turbo is actually capable of. I hope this turbo is able to deliver on the performance and durability that Dynamic Autowerx is advertising. I have no reason to discount their claims. They're a great turbocharger company, but I'm also very excited that them and other companies are still developing upgrades for a stock location turbo for the Gen 2 B58. What do you think of this turbo? Is this a turbo that you would run on your B58? Let me know in the comments. But if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to Grumpy Vet Garage, liking this video, sharing this video. To support the channel, we have a Grumpy Vet Garage merch store. Link to the store is in the video description. Additionally, we have affiliate marketing links in the video description. Using those links to make any purchase directly supports the channel. If you want to contact me, you can do so through the comment section of this video or on our Facebook or Instagram page. Link to those are in the video description. But as always, thanks for coming and seeing me in my garage. And until next time, have a good one.